Well, as you can see, I've got myself down onto the rocks and I'm going to be doing a bit of lure fishing. And what I'm hoping to pick up is mackerel, but also hoping I might get lucky and pick up a bass. It may not be big bass, but fingers crossed we may pick up a bass. But if not, I'm pretty confident I should at least catch a mackerel. Now, the lures I'm going to be using today, I've got loads of lures with me, as I always do. I've got plugs and I've got soft plastics, but I'm going to be mainly using metal lures, spinners. The reason is that they work well at this particular mark. They're really suitable. So I've got a mix here of fish imitation metals and sand hill imitation. So at the top there we got a fish imitation, which is the Western F360, and then next I've got the Western Solpelan, which is a sand hill imitation lure. Next I've got the Western Salty, another fish imitation, and then lastly the Dennett Super Sprat, which is basically a sand hill stroke sprat, stroke whitebait imitation. Now, what I'm going to focus on to start with and see how we go is these three lures here. Now, they're quite large. If you were just going for mackerel, if I was just going for mackerel only, I would probably just fish the smaller lure, the Dennett Super Sprat, or maybe just fish a Dexter wedge, even though this will catch bass if they're there. But I'm going to fish, for the most part, the larger lures. Reason is hopefully to attract a reasonable sized bass, but also to try and attract maybe the better sized mackerel. We can at this time of year, I've had some good mackerel recently, some decent size, but we can at this time of year, August, we get an influx of the tiny little joeys. So I'm going to try and fish fairly large metals to try and filter out the better fish. Even though, of course, the joeys will go for these as well. They'll just go for the hook, but we'll see. So that's the lures. Good mix of metals, imitating fish and sand hills. Now, I know many of you asked me about the tackle, the rod and the reel that I'm using. I'll put it all in the description of this video, the rod, the reel, the line, etc., and the lures, whatever lures I end up using. But what we got here, this is an 8-foot, 15 to 40 gram lure rod. Not expensive, only cost me, well, it was under £50. So that's the lure rod. And then on that, I've got a 4,000 size lure reel, which is loaded with 20-pound braid. I've mentioned this before in previous videos. The reason for the 20-pound braid is not to do with the size of the fish that I might catch. It's to do with, this is a very, very rough ground mark. And sometimes when you're playing a fish in, and you may have to stand a little bit back from the water, the line can touch the rock. So basically it's for abrasion resistance. All right, now down to at the end of the braid, I've got a tiny little swivel. It's a small swivel, although it's a 35-pound breaking strain, but very, very small. Now, usually I would have a knot joining the braid to the fluorocarbon or braid to nylon, something like an FG knot or a uni knot or an Albright special. But at the end of last year, I started experimenting with using swivels, as some of them, the lure fishermen do in the States. I thought I'd experiment with that, and I got on well with it. So I'm going to carry on experimenting this year, and so far it's worked well. And it's just so convenient. Instead of keep having to tie braid to fluoro or braid to nylon knots, just tie a swivel one end and the other, and your leader to the other end. Now the leader is about 3.5 foot of 15-pound fluorocarbon, so it's a decent length. And then the little link at the end, a little link to be able to clip the lure on and change it as necessary. But as I said, I'll put all this in the description for those of you interested. Okay, that's what we're doing. At the moment it's 3 hours before high water. I'm going to fish up to high water. I can't stay any longer than that. so high water will take me into the early evening. You'll see later when the camera goes the other way, I've got pretty good conditions. Got a nice bit of cloud cover, which is good. I've got a just right getting in, it's rising tide. We're just getting into the spring tides now, so that's good. So generate a bit of current. The sea, as you'll see, is not rough. Got a bit of a swell, so I'm hopeful. I'm pretty confident, really, of at least picking up a mackerel. But as I say, fingers crossed. We'll see if we can pick up a bass as well. Okay, I'm going to start with this one, the sand eel imitation. One of the reasons I'm starting with this one is at the moment, at this state of the tide, I've got some shallow water over some big rocks. There's deep water over the other side of the rocks, but at the moment it's quite shallow. And this one, I can just basically wind this in, I can crank this in at a medium pace without worrying about it getting snagged on the rocks. Later, I'll probably change to one of the other ones, but we'll start with this one and see how we go. Now, for all of these lures that I'll be using for this session, basically it's going to be a retrieve with the occasional pause. When I know I can pause, because I need the depth of water to be able to do that, so I don't fall down into the rocks, particularly the slightly heavier lures. So retrieve and then the occasional pause. The current at this mark, the tide, runs lateral. It runs right to left, parallel to the shoreline. And it's a strong current, particularly on a spring tide. Now, I know this when I come float fishing here, maybe float fishing for mackerel or garfish. Even when it's absolutely flat, calm and no wind, you cast your float to the right and it drifts right to left, parallel, very, very quickly. So it's a parallel tide run. So what I'm doing, let's say straight out where we're looking there, that's say 12 o'clock. So from there, what I'm casting is up tide, up to say, let's say 2:30 to my right, and then say to 10:30 to my left. But nearly always coming across the tide. Now, when I cast to the right, and draw the lure back, is coming across the tide and with the tide. Now, and when I cast to my left, it's coming across the tide and against the tide. And it's quite surprising the resistance that you can feel. When I cast down tide and I'm drawing it in slightly across the tide but slightly up tide, you can really feel a much stronger pull on the lure. But basically, for the whole period, I'm drawing the lure across the tide. I don't know if the camera will pick it up. It might not be bright enough, but hopefully when it's not the white water, you'll be able to see it. But just here, it's basically like a ledge. It drops right off. It's like a drop off down there into a deep gully. Now, this causes problems when you're trying to land a fish. It doesn't have to be a big fish. Any fish that's got a bit of fight in it can cause a problem. Particularly when it's a bit of a sea coming in, and you've actually got to stand. You've got to stand back, so your line to where the fish is going out at an angle. So what happens? The fish, you get them about here, and they dive down the other side of a ledge there into that deep gully. And as I said, if you're back and you've got your line coming from, say, at high water, say I'm going to be 15 yards back from here, it's coming down an angle because you can't get close to the water. It's this ledge makes it difficult at times to get a fish in, and I've lost a few fish at this mark because of these ledges and them getting the other side of the ledge. But that's one of the reasons, as I said earlier, one of the reasons for fishing fishing the 20-pound braid is to have a bit of braid resistance. It's not just that ledge. When I'm right back at high tide, you've got this slope here in front of me coming up. Of course, this will be covered with water later. You've got to play the fish over this, and yeah, particularly when there's a bit of a sea coming in, so it can be a little bit tricky when you get the fish close in. Right, so I'm going to have a change of lure. No sign of anything at the moment, but that's okay. It happens at this mark. You think, oh blimey, there's absolutely nothing here, and then suddenly the fish turn up. So you just got to keep trying. But I'm going to change to this one. And see if that attracts anything. This lure, this Westin F360 actually comes with a treble. I've done a video about this, and I left the treble on deliberately to show people how it comes. But I've changed it now. I've changed it to a single. This is a 1.0 single. Just had a little bump then. That's the first sign of fish. Just a little knock. So that's good. Of course, you never know what those knocks are. They could even be. Sometimes they're just launts. You know, you get, or lance. The big sand eels. Which you can sometimes catch spinning. Sometimes you get a few knocks from them, or garfish, although, to be honest, I haven't had any sign of garfish yet this year, but when they arrive, they were late last year. When they arrive, there'll be absolutely thousands of them here, but I haven't seen any sign of them yet, and we're in mid-August. Yeah, just had a bang then again. So there's fish starting to show. Just didn't hook it, obviously. But that was quite a sharp bang. Well, I've been getting a few knocks, not every cast, but I've been getting a few knocks, and then you know something's following it in. It keeps knocking it, but now it might be these tiny little joeys, and that's one of the reasons. In fishing the slightly bigger metals, is I'm trying as best I can to avoid catching the little joeys. But as I said, I have had some reasonable sized mackerel recently. I mean, the joeys, the lure might be too big for them, but they'll still go for the hook. So sometimes you just can't help it. But if I can help it, I really don't want to catch the tiny little mackerel. Hopefully get something reasonable. Okay, we'll have another change. I'm getting a few knocks. I'm going to use exactly the same lure. I want to just try a different colour. It's just something, you just try these things. There's no sort of particular, I'm not changing the colour for any particular reason. That colour has been really successful to me. It's just trying, you never know. You try these things. It might turn a fish on. Instead of just following it, it might make it go for it. But we'll just try one or two different things. Few of those different lures that I showed you earlier, and just see what works. Well, unfortunately, it's raining. I'm going to have to I'm going to have to stop using the external mic, and I will just have to go to the camera mic, I'm afraid. This DVR I got is not waterproof, so if it stops raining I'll put it back on again, but I'm going to have to get it out the rain. Well, it's stopped raining now, I'm pleased to say, for the moment anyway, so I'm back on the microphone now. Just can't find any fish at the moment. Surprising really, I've been doing well recently with the mackerel, spinning for them. I'm not been getting huge numbers. I'm not, when I go spinning, I don't want to worried about getting buckets full of mackerel. Just want to sport, and I've been getting sort of 3s and 4s, and the odd last trip where I had 7, along with a few small bass. So it's been good, but I'm really surprised actually at the moment. Just goes to show with fishing, you just never know. I was feeling confident about this session, and it's just at the moment there seems to be nothing. But it is, as I said, it is a mark where suddenly, and I'm still okay, I've still got some time left, suddenly some fish will move through, or suddenly they'll just turn up. Just had a knot then. Yeah, at last. Yeah, it's just strange. You just got to keep trying. Just keep those lures working, and just keep trying. You never know. Now this is where I get the problem here, is because of that ledge I talked about, and I'm so far back from it with the line going out at an angle. Pretty sure it's a mackerel. Oh, come on. It's a decent one. Oh no! Oh dear. The line just went round that rock there, and I suppose it was enough to put some slack, and I lost it. Oh, it's so frustrating when you lose fish, particularly when you've been struggling to find them. But yeah, and that was a decent mackerel. Never mind, that's fishing. Well, the breeze has dropped down to nothing now, and the sea, you get that wonderful sea where it all calms down, and you get it sort of evening in the summer, it all calms down, but it's still got some cloud cover, so it's still darkness on the water. Oh, right, good. Yeah, it just looks lovely when you get this. Right, I mustn't lose this one. Yeah, it's mackerel. Come on. Ah, good. Well, that's great, at last. At last a mackerel. Well, that was the lure that it was caught on, and the one that hooked the lost fish. That one I just caught wasn't as big as the one that I lost, but At least it's a reasonable size. Yeah, this sea, when you get this, when it suddenly just, the wind drops, it suddenly just all settles down, but it's got a dark look about it. It's absolute pleasure when it's like this, being by the water. Now, if I can get one more mackerel, I'll be happy. I'm happy to catch one, but if I can just get one more, and having lost that fish, I'll be happy. Mackerel fishing to me is not all about coming out and catching 20 or 30 mackerel. Yeah, I know it can be addictive, but it's not, to me, that's not what it's all about. As I've said before, that's why I like to spin for them or float fish for them. Just catch them one at a time. We all know you can come with feathers from the shore, hurl out feathers and catch them 6 at a time when they're in. You know, 40, 50 mackerel in 2 hours, but I don't know. Yeah, I mean, sure, if you really want some mackerel, that's fine if you want for bait, or you really want to stock up the freezer. And I do it on the kayak when I need some mackerel quickly, use sabikis. Yeah, sure, that's fine, but I'm talking from a sporting point of view, enjoying the sport of a mackerel. Then to me, much better to fish with spinners or float fish for them. Ah, brilliant. Brilliant. Don't lose it, don't lose it, don't lose it, don't lose it, don't lose it. Up you come, come on, up you come. Oh. Well, that's great. I'm happy now, because it's been hard work trying to find fish on this session. But I've still got some time left, so I'll carry on for a bit. You never know, I might get lucky and pick up a bass, but it doesn't look like it at the moment. Right, I'm going to close this session off now. I'm going to leave this obviously to play this in, which seems like another mackerel. So I'm really pleased to have caught those couple of mackerel, and hopefully if I can land this one. It's been hard going this session. Couldn't find a bass, but that's the way it goes. There'll be plenty of other times for the bass, but fantastic to catch a few mackerel. Great sport at this time of the year, or any time of the year. Now, come on, behave yourself. Get in. So that was the end of that session, mackerel but no bass. However, I went back for another session at dawn, and after catching a few mackerel using exactly the same methods and lures, I managed to hook a bass. So I'll let that play out. So once again, I hope you found that useful, and many thanks for watching.